All right, let's talk about the results from last night. More specifically, at least for this video, Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Miller. So, yesterday I did have the pleasure of watching the whole fight, not just the highlights. And what I will say is, Andy Ruiz came out blazing. He came out pretty fast. Was controlling the pace fairly well, and he won, in my estimation, the first 3 rounds. Jarrell Miller kind of started off slow, and then started to pick it up. And even in an interview, he admitted that he started off slow. But after that, Jarrell started picking up the pace, started hitting Andy with some big shots at one point, and I think it was either the 7th or the 8th round. I'll be honest, Andy Ruiz looked very gassed, very tired. It may have been the 6th round. And Jarrell looked like if he had a little bit more gas in his tank, that he would have knocked Andy out in that particular round. And then there was a few more rounds where Andy got his wind back, but he really wasn't doing much. And his body shots didn't even look like they was affecting Jarrell Miller too much until like the later rounds. But if you don't know already, they called the fight a draw, and I want to say that most people, especially other channels that I've listened to, definitely think that Jarrell Miller did enough to win the fight. I definitely don't think that Andy won the fight, but one of the issues was I think there were 3 judges from California, or 2 judges from California, 1 from Nevada. Well, that's like Andy having judges in his backyard. Jarrell is a New Yorker, so I don't necessarily think that that's very fair. You have to have judges that are going to be a bit more impartial, or even foreign judges. That would totally make more sense, because it's still a big fight. It might not be AJ, Usyk, nothing of that magnitude, but it's still big enough to where you should have judges that are not going to be biased. And I think, like, I went live and I said I think it might be called a draw, but I think it was only called a draw because Andy had the benefit of the doubt. He's the former unified champ because he beat AJ, so he has a bit more cachet than what Big Baby Miller does. The other thing that Miller mentioned, and I will leave a link in the description so you can see the interview that he did, but you know, he was really struggling because him and Andy are friends. And he said at the end of the fight, Andy's son was crying, you know, because he was worried about his dad. So then Jarrell started crying, and then Jarrell in the interview even said he don't want to fight any more people that are his friends, because it stops him from being as aggressive as he wants to be, and kind of stops him from having that killer, because he's worried about, if I hit this guy and I affect this guy's livelihood, then his kids are going to suffer. And him and Andy were friendly throughout the whole build-up of this fight. So I definitely think that that did have an effect on both of them, actually, not just Jarrell, but also Andy. But all of that to the side, I 100% believe that Jarrell Miller won the fight against Andy Ruiz. It was close, but I had him winning by at least 2 or 3 rounds. Definitely not a draw. So, you know, that kind of sucks. They're contemplating maybe a rematch, but I don't know, man. I don't even know if Andy's got that juice left in him. I think maybe the ring rust definitely has something to do with it, but he's going to have to reevaluate, and I think he's going to have to get more active, kind of like Joseph Parker did. AJ got more active this year, and you can definitely see the difference in how they've been fighting, because they just looked a lot sharper. Anyway, if you watch the fight, let me know what you think. Do you think it was a draw? Do you think that Jarrell Miller should have won? Or do you think Andy Ruiz should have won? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.